We back with a new week, new special, Valentine's Day special.
Ooh.
It's your boy Fat Fool, and we have a special guest for y'all today.
I came in on a good week, Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day special. I got the Moet somewhere around here. And we got a special guest for y'all though, y'all.
Oh yeah, we do got.
This is Brittany Elyse.
Hello, people. Hello, people.
Hey, oh my God, we've been trying to get her for months.
Listen, I'm moving. But I said to myself, I said, no. I said, this is the day I'm coming by any means necessary. We're going to make it happen. I'm going to make it work.
You definitely did. When I see people out in public, I be mad aggressive because
you got to.
And I didn't even know that I had. Derek was like, you know she coming on the show? I'm like, say Carol, for real? He was like, bro, you bugged it. I'm like, oh, I did it, right? I was like, I didn't. I was just being me.
Look, but the thing is, I always say, if you get the one opportunity to do what you're going to do in that moment, do it. And I had to learn that the hard way because there's a lot of opportunities that I got passed up on because I didn't say or speak how I felt in the moment.
Yeah.
So I live by that now. You got to.
I tell you, it's a good and a bad thing being aggressive. Because it's like sometimes you kind of approach and then it's kind of the wrong way, like
But see, the thing he told me before we started was that he's from up north. And us up north people tend to be a little bit more abrasive, which that's something that I had to learn when I moved to Florida, how to smooth over. So yeah, down here, y'all are a little nice. Y'all are nicer than what we are.
They be like, why you so loud?
Or the thing is, like, the way I might talk, way I might talk to somebody, and it might sound like, why you going to the store like that? But to them, they're just like, okay, why am I going to the store? But to somebody down here, they be like, man, she was kind of mean. But no, they understood me. It's just a dialect.
I've been around everybody, even though I'm a Floridian, so I get it. I already know. They're like, oh, she's aggressive. No, she's just talking. She's just talking. It's just a little harder.
Right.
You know?
Viewers know exactly what you do.
Everything.
Everything.
I mean, I like to say that I am a chameleon. I can pretty much do anything that I train my mind or teach myself how to do. But overall, I'm one half of WordCrush.com, which is a media website that also has expanded into doing events, branding, consulting for artists, branding and consulting for other people's events. We put together events like Forlando Firelando, Smokechella. We do a lot of stuff with
that was dope.
Yeah, thank you. Smokechella.
That was the first one that I was.
Which one?
Last year.
That's the second one.
That was the second one?
The first one ever was, what happened was we did a Forlando Firelando that kind of evolved into a Smokechella the second go round, and then we made that out.
Okay.
I always thought dope.
And I saw that I didn't get to make it. You know,
listen, it's a great time. It's a great time. It's a great time. But we do events like that, and then I also work over at the radio station where I am the digital content manager for XL 1067, Magic 1077, Pride Radio, and The Beat.
So what are those like sister stations?
Yes,
in 104.5.
For our iHeart Media cluster here in Orlando, there's about 11 stations.
Okay.
And then I do digital content and website for 4 of them.
That's dope.
And then I'm on air at Pride Radio Orlando every day from 6 to 10, and then I'm on air on The Beat on the weekends.
On the weekends. That's where, if y'all haven't heard that voice, you better get ready because I've heard the voice.
I mean, I gotta admit, you have been moving. Like, I'm gonna say from Facebook, my main thing I love is your style.
Thank you.
I think as a woman,
she got her own style.
You really have.
I just wake up and go with whatever I want. Like, okay, so I did an interview with Ash Cash from Closet Freaks, which she pretty much, like 90% of my closet is Closet Freaks. Like,
wasn't that on Foresight?
I need to figure out who
at one point, yes. At one point, I introduced you because that's the homie. But I remember doing an interview with her, and I remember us talking about like style and stuff, and she was like, why do you come to Closet Freaks so much? And I was like, because that's where I can learn how to be my own character each day. So I can dress up each day and be like, okay, this is how I'm feeling today. This is today's character. This is tomorrow's character. Like, never will I ever not be me through my clothes and expression.
See, I'm a weirdo. So I get it. I've been on a weirdo too.
Right, you know, and the thing is, sometimes I wear like some loud pants with this loud jacket, and people be like, where did she think she was going? But I just, to that day, I want to be loud. You know what I mean? I wanted to be seen. I wanted to be out there.
Now, I got to do it like, I'm going to tell you how small Florida is. You did a shoot and I didn't even know until the shoot was over with Yummy B. And I think the girl had a gown. And you had like on this like.
Oh yeah, I did it with
car and
Tashana
yes,
from
Tashana. She did photography.
And
I was like, wow, this shows how small Central Florida is. Cause that was Sanford, Orlando, right there.
Right.
Really?
Yeah. Cause I actually know a lot of those people personally. And I was just amazed. But when I saw it, I was like, yo, I had to go click on WordCrush. I was like, who is this chick? Like, oh my gosh. Because, you know, me being a female, it's when you dress with like things like this masculine feel, but you put that feminine twist on it, it's a little different.
Right,
and that's coming in back in style.
Well, what it is you having to be comfortable with who you are, and I think that's something that I had to learn a lot over time, because like if you ask anybody 2 years ago, I was not doing photo shoots. I just did like the interviews in front of cameras. That was my in front of the camera. Like I'm comfortable because it's just talking to people about stuff that you like. But when it comes time for photo shoots, you have to like think like, okay, do I look okay? Is this position? Is this? I used to overthink it, and I didn't always like love the way I looked. So then it was like became very like difficult. But then once I started doing it more and being comfortable with the photographers that I was working with, and I have my go-to photographers because they know me, I know them, so I'm comfortable enough to be my own self and not have to overthink anything.
Right.
And I think that's really what it's all about when you start to like, whether you want to be an artist, you want to be a fashion designer, whatever it is you want to be, you just got to be comfortable within yourself and not really care about what anybody else thinks. And once you start doing that, you forget that the cameras are there, you forget that, you start forgetting it, and you just be you and you're fine.
Most Def said it best. He said fashion is just what you wear.
Right.
What you are, you, what you get up and put on, just like how you said. My well, I ain't even say that. I'm about to say my shit. But anyway, a lot of people who around me, they be like, why you wear that? But zipping that up, why your stomach hanging out?
That's the way I felt today.
I am fat fool. It's what I do.
Look, that's the way I felt today.
I'm saying you gotta relax.
I would have been like, are you bothered by my stomach hanging out?
They always is. But no, not there. No. We shoot dice, everything, stomach all out. I don't care.
As long as I'm winning. 7-11.
7-11. So, with all the encounters that you might come across in the city, has there been any weird encounters with artists?
No. You know why? Because, okay, so like I said, I'm one half of Word Crush. My business partner is DJ MK.
Okay.
And one of the biggest things that we always said when we started Word Crush, and then it started to grow into all these other ventures that we started to do, is there's nothing by force. So sometimes I might come across an artist and they might be wanting to work together, or they might have this idea of something that they want to create with us, and for me, if it doesn't feel right or it doesn't fit in that moment, I'm okay with being like, not right now. But it doesn't mean that it might not come back around full circle. And that happens a lot with us. Like sometimes in the moment, that event or whatever it is that they wanted us to work on, it might not be the right fit for what we can do for them. But then years or months later, I might see something and be like, yo, remember when he was talking about this? This makes sense now for us to work together. So I believe, like Jesus said, nothing by force. I'm not gonna force an event. I'm not gonna force me working with somebody, because when you do that, you never get a good result. So
that clears up what you told me.
Yeah.
She said, I hit her up, she was like, 2018, you think it's possible? I said, what a curveball, bro.
2018, anything is possible. Like I believe that. Like I wake up every morning and I'm like, it's possible.
But that makes sense though, because it has to be. It's a matter of time until it's our time.
Right.
Yeah.
Same with this situation here. Like you guys hit me up for a while to be like, Britt, I need you to come in. I want you to come in, and it just was not. It might not have just been the right time, and also my schedule is a little crazy.
I'm happy though it happened like that, because we weren't ready for you.
Why not? Why you say that?
Because at the time we were still under 2,000 followers. We just, statistically, I felt like we wasn't ready. Now we have so many people calling and responding and wanting to be on the show that this not only will help us, but it's gonna help you as well. Like
right.
We want, you know, and we wanted to help people.
Well, that's what these things are always about. They're about
we want to help people.
Continuing the growth of people. Like I always say, people always say, why did you guys start doing interviews? And to be honest, our very first interview was Palmer Reed. Very first ever. I remember emailing him. I was living in Miami at the time before I got to Orlando. You know who Palmer Reed is?
Hell no.
I'll put you down. Palmer Reed.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna send you the video link.
Palmer Reed is probably one of the best voices in Orlando. Like, he will make your heart melt and make you smile and then make you cry all in the same song.
Speaking of Paul Marie, I sling furniture in the daytime. I had a customer come in and she knew Paul Marie.
Right.
She's like, because she found out I do music. Do you know Paul Marie? I know his mother. I'm just like,
She's such a sweet lady.
He from Orlando?
Yes. Yes.
No relation to Junior Reed?
Listen, I'm gonna put you down, but that was one of our very first interviews ever, and I think for us, I was living in Miami. I had a whole nother life in Miami before I got here, but I think my life in Miami trained me for what I'm doing today, if that makes sense. But either way, I remember emailing him like, "Dear Mr. Reed." Meanwhile, Palmer is like one of the most down-to-earth, coolest people ever. So I'm like, "Dear Mr. Reed, we would like to do an interview with you." So we pull up to Snap Orlando. Snap Orlando just opened, dope photography art gallery here in the city. Now they got 2 of them here. And we just pulled up and we did this interview, and after it I was like, looked at Krista, I said, "Krista, this is what we're supposed to be doing." Months later, we ended up getting an interview with Joey Badass. And then from there, we just started to create a culture where we were able to get these interviews when these people came to the city. But I think what made it so beneficial is that our style of interviewing was more so of being able to help artists that like that artist and see how their story came about, so that they can kind of figure out where they can fit and brand themselves based off of what they learned from our interviews. And that's kind of the reason why we started doing those style of interviews.
Okay, that's what's up.
That's lit. That's
and it's crazy that you say like, you know, when you do something, because you said Miami prepared you for now.
Almost definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's anything you go through. I tell people anything you go through is preparing you for your next.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the thing is, if I would have knew that then, I think I would have not done things differently, but I would have paid a little more attention. Because so when I was in Miami, I went to school in Pittsburgh for my undergraduate degree. I left there and went to Miami to get a master's degree. And while I was getting my master's degree, I was also working at Power 96, which is one of the biggest radio stations down there. And then I was working at Po' Boy under a guy named Wallace Marshall. And my business partner, Krista, she was working at we were roommates then. She was working at Slip and Slide. So we were a house divided, but it was kind of like our circles just always intermixed. And we both worked at the radio station. So like, she's going to school, I'm going to school. We working at the record label, we working at the radio station. We are hitting the pavement, grinding, just doing all these things through Miami. But we're learning so much about when we have and WordCrush did not exist at this point. We're learning so much about the business and things from these people, about things that we don't want to do. That's what I would say I learned the most, is like every time somebody was, I was like, that didn't make no sense. Because common sense, some things to me, I was like, I learned a lot of what I did not want to do when I had a business. And that way, it prepared me to now be able to say, okay, what I want to do with WordCrush, what I want to do when I throw events. We worked on tons of events down in Miami.
Some things.
So now it's like we put our own events together. You know, before I'm working for this company doing events, and now I'm putting my own events together. And now I understand what I don't want to do when I'm putting my
exactly, I'm not going to do
that. Were you throwing events in Pittsburgh?
No, well, okay.
Well, hold on. Before Pittsburgh, though, I know you're from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So I got a question though about Pennsylvania.
Shout out my Philadelphia Eagles.
Shout out to the Eagles, y'all.
Yeah, you gotta slide it in there.
Y'all Philly girl. Shout out to the Eagles.
Slide it in there.
I was lit.
I want to know, coming up, people don't know the difference of coming up black in the North and coming up black in the South.
Well, I have the best of both worlds because my parents are both from the South. So my father is from South Carolina, Conway, which is like outside Myrtle Beach.
I got about this.
Out by Myrtle Beach. We might be kin because you know how Myrtle Beach is.
That's crazy, right?
Out in South Carolina, the first thing you always ask somebody is, what's your last name? Because everybody's kin somehow. And then my mother's from Atlanta. So it was like, they met up north, and me and my sister were raised in the north, but in the summers we spent our summers in the south. So it would be like, when I got to the south, I'd be like, man, y'all so slow. We sitting on the porch all day. Can I get a soda? Like, it was just so slow to me. And then like being in the north, it was just like, you wake up, like I remember taking Krista up north for the first time, MK, and I woke her up just to see how people was out in the streets at 5 a.m. giving out newspapers. The hot dog man and the breakfast trucks is setting up, like people are getting ready for work, and she had never seen nothing like that because down here, when out in Miami, people wasn't opening, the doors say open at 9 a.m. I'm standing outside at 9:05 and they ain't open till 10, right? And I'd be like, what kind of business is this? You can't do that up north. So I mean, like, growing up black in the north, I would say we are very, and I can't speak for everybody, but from my experiences, I mean, I still experience racism. As a very young child, I experienced it, and I didn't really understand what it was because I grew up next door neighbors that were white. So like when it first happened to me, I'm like, what are you talking about? What's happening? And I had to explain it to my mom what happened, and my mom had to explain back to me what I had just experienced because I didn't get it.
Right.
So like growing up north was just very, I don't know, to me it's regular because that's where I'm from. But then when I got down here, I realized when I got to Miami, I was like, this is a whole nother ball. Or I was ready to go. I'm not gonna lie. After 2 weeks, I was like, I got to go.
Did you feel like a minority still? When I'm in Miami, I don't feel like a minority.
Well, the thing is, I didn't feel like a minority because I speak Spanish. So like, it was very easy for me to like communicate with people and get around and do things like that. Part wasn't difficult for me, but I did feel. I didn't understand like when I seen like and it's funny now that it's very relevant in today's cultural climate about the Afro-Latina. I didn't understand what that was when I got to Miami because everybody that I knew that was Spanish was brown skin and like their hair was curly or like straight. Like, so when I got down to Miami and I had met a friend and then she started speaking Spanish and I'm like, and then I'm speaking Spanish, she's like, oh, you're from, she asked me was I from the Dominican Republic. I was like, no, I just, I'm black. And then she's like, no, I'm from Dominican Republic. And I was like, what? Like it was a whole new world. It was, now that was a culture shock for me a little bit.
It was for me too.
It was different.
I don't know, I guess it's, I don't know, I've been everywhere. I've been like all the way out, well not to Cali yet, but I've been to like Texas, I'm from the South.
Right.
And then going up north. But I will say that when I went to New York for the first time, I think I like fell in heaven because I was like, I've never seen so many black and Spanish people all as one. I've been saying this, but when I'm down here, that's what I tell people. Like,
well, I'm not gonna lie, because there's parts like Pennsylvania and Philadelphia that are like, okay, here's the Italian market, and this is kind of where like all the Italians are, and blacks and whites kind of like are intermingled between the city, and then you got here over here you got Chinatown, and you got so it is, and then I'm pretty sure like I've been to New York several times, and there's parts of it that are similar to that as well, but for the most part up north. Everybody is at some point, like we call it Center City, everybody's intermingling somewhere.
See, down here is all this, it's a lot they be playing down here. It's sometimes it's I don't know, I'll say we're nice, but it's a lot of stuff under the surface.
Well, I think you have to remember that the soil of the South is built on a lot of blood. So it's like, even when I drive through, like I used to drive from Miami to Philly 2 to 3 times a year when I first moved down there, and then I would drive to Georgia. First of all, I've traveled this country back and forth. I've been just about everywhere I come from, and that's what I'm thankful for my parents, because as a child we traveled, whereas I know a lot of people that did not travel. Like I got to Miami and people were like, I've never been past Orlando, and I'd be like, what?
Man.
Like, but that just means that I was blessed, right? That just means I was blessed. But I mean, when I drive through places like South Carolina or I drive through Atlanta, there's certain places I will not stop. Even out where I went to school in Pittsburgh, like, then when I would be driving from school to the city, I would have enough gas because out there, if you stop out there, it might be in some trouble.
I was about to ask you, were you in Pittsburgh pro black and yellow or full black and yellow?
Through it all. I went to college in 2004. I graduated in 2008.
Okay.
So yeah, I was out there around like 2004 to 2008. And that was actually one of the first concerts. So for my school, I was the publicity chair of the Black Student Union. So we were the ones that put together all the concerts and shows. So we were the ones that brought Meat Mills to the school. Right. We brought the Young Guns. We brought Wiz Khalifa. We brought all these people to the school before they were who they are today. So it's fun now for me to sit back and watch and be like, damn, we were ahead of our time, because a lot of people, but that was also a Pennsylvania market of music that they were just the same way here we have the O-Town Marcos, the Kims, the Marcellas, they're doing in the trenches here in Orlando now, the same way they're doing that now. That's how the Meat Mills and the Wiz Khalifas were when I was in school in the Pennsylvania market. And now it'll be fun to watch where they go after from here and where their career spins off to. Because you look at the Wiz Khalifa now, you look at Meat Mills now, you're like, never would have thought.
Yeah, I never would have thought to say I would have went to where I went to. Really did. With that being said, what type of music are you into?
Everything. I listen to just about everything from Rock, country, hip hop, rap, trap.
What you were listening to on the way here?
Silence.
Silence.
I listen
You
to silence
meditate?
in the car. Well, the thing is, in the car, I feel like I can get the most work done in my mind. I can organize my day. I can organize my phone calls, who I need to talk to, what I need to do. If I'm listening to music, I'm not focused. So I listen to silence on the way here. I listen to silence in the car a lot.
I'm very ignorant. I have to turn the music on just to think.
Although I am down on this new girl named Danny Lee.
Danny Lee?
Her name is Danny Lee.
I'm about to check that out. Danny Lee.
Definitely, I've been listening to her EP and it's pretty good. I like it. It's different. She's along the lines of a SZA, a Her, a Georgia Smith.
Okay.
I like a lot of feel good music.
Okay. Any artists though, like locally, you've been listening to?
All the time. I mean, I listen to Kim, Marco.
Kim Mendes? Okay, shout out to Kim Mendes.
I listen to Kim, Marco, Marcellus.
Speaking of Old Town Marco, first time I seen Old Town Marco, I think it was a show at The Social.
Be Unplugged.
Man, I was so impressed. I was like, man. And then he was like, this is my second show. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I'm really impressed.
I mean,
now.
the thing is, that's kind of the thing that me and MK do. Like, we'll comb through the market and see who's buzzing, who's popping. That's how we kind of formulate what we're going to bring up as far as, like, Freestyle Friday. Like, we orchestrate all the Freestyle Fridays, the interviews that come through the station. I'm the one that does all the video work. Krista does all the producing of who's coming, when they're coming, things like that. So we come across, there's not a day that I don't go by that I don't come across at least one new artist. And that might be one of my favorite parts of the day, is because you learn a lot through that. Like, there's actually, like, you guys had Dreesy up here, what was that, 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Yeah.
She's another one. She's another one that's like, when she tells you how long she's been doing it, you're like, what? Like, seems like you've been doing it since birth. Like, you're good. Like, and then you got Legit. He's another one. Like, there's a lot of culture here in Orlando that I think is untouched and slept on, and that's part of like what you guys are doing, what I do, is what is going to help push that forward into the light.
Oh yeah.
I find it for the city artists who are grinding now, it is pivotal for them to not give up and keep grinding. Just keep grinding. I know I've been doing this in the city for like 4 years now. Every day, I used to just half-ass and be a half a rapper, but every day, really rapping.
Half a rapper.
That's what I call my friends, half a rappers.
That sounds like a stage name. Next up to the stage, half a rapper.
Well, like, sit your half a rapper ass down.
What you about to do?
But
Right.
I
a
know
little bit.
if you stay focused every day, if you stay focused every day, you are going to be successful.
I got a testimony.
Shoot.
A lot of people don't realize, but I was working a 9 to 5. I was a manager of my own store at a 9 to 5. And I was doing the radio station and Word Crush and the interviews and the graphics all at the same time, right? And then one day last March 3rd, I'm coming up on the anniversary, man. March 3rd, I said, walked into my boss, said, today's the last day for me, I'm sorry. Letter of resignation, I got to roll out. Rolled out, the day I left, I cried. Didn't cry because I was sad, I cried because I felt such a release. And in the last, I guess, what are we, like almost 11 months now? In the last 11 months, I've gained to have myself 2 different radio shows. I have a digital position at the radio station. I still coordinate events. I'm still, you know what I mean? Like, I've come up so much more on what I really want to do, what my passions are, because I let go of something that was a financial security. And you're right. If you do everything every single day, if I realized that before, I would have quit a long time ago. And I told my mom the other day, and she was like, well, you had some money. And I'm like, right, but
we be wasting time. We don't be faith. Like, faith is really a sign of necessity. And so we wait forever until we really be like, I'm gonna do this, and get all fed up, tired, bothered, sick before we move. Right. But then we realize, dang, if I would have did this,
I always say to myself, if I jump, has he ever not allowed me to sail? Yeah. No. Every time I get into a bind, I always get out of it. If I didn't always get out of it, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair today. I could be out on the street, homeless. Like, there's been times down in Miami that I didn't have nothing. Like, I had my car and a place to sleep, and that was it. Sometimes I didn't even have food, but I knew that I could not go back to Pennsylvania. It was like, this is what I want. I want more for myself. I want to do more. And once I learned I got into that financial security, and then I kind of stayed there for 6-7 years and realized, no, I got to jump, because if I jump, I can't fly.
Straight up.
Can't fly.
And this journey that you had, you got any shout outs for us?
Of course, I want to shout out my brother, Young Scholar. I want to shout out DJ MK, Shiana, Desiree, everybody back over at the beat. I mean, we're a big family out there, and I'm saying, like, without them, I couldn't do half the stuff I do. It's definitely a good support team.
That's real shit. That's real shit. This is the Brittany Elyse interview, y'all. For the culture.